Luka Doncic really just crossed the line with his head coach? The basketball world is buzzing, and rumors are flying that the league office might intervene. Are we looking at a suspension for the superstar? That explosive courtside altercation between Luka and JJ Redick absolutely broke the web today. If you want the inside scoop on the exact words exchanged and the official league fallout, make sure to hit that like button right now. Let us dive deep into the exact incident that ignited this massive firestorm. Back on March 1st, 2026, the Purple and Gold squad headed up to San Francisco to clash with the Golden State Warriors at the Chase Center. Los Angeles arrived at the arena carrying the heavy baggage of 3 straight defeats, painfully dropping buzzer-beating heartbreakers to both Orlando and Phoenix. Following an absolute beatdown suffered against Boston, the squad barely lost their next couple of matchups by a grand total of just 4 points. The locker room vibes were unbelievably tense. The stakes could not be higher, with Los Angeles hovering in the 6th seed out west, meaning absolute perfection was required. Fast forward to Saturday night, amidst a massive 129-101 road victory over Golden State, the Slovenian star was pulled from the lineup to give LeBron James the floor. While heading to the sidelines, Redick reached out for his player to chat, but Doncic furiously swatted the gesture away. Continuing his march, the guard completely blanked the head coach, outright refusing any friendly greeting or knuckles. Refusing to back down, the frustrated coach shadowed his star guard along the hardwood, barking out sharp comments. Redick relentlessly pursued Doncic straight to the chairs, making sure he was heard loud and clear right up to the very moment the superstar finally grabbed a seat. After the player parked himself on the bench, his boss delivered a final verbal jab before spinning around to march right back to his sideline duties. But the drama was far from finished, just as the head coach stepped away. The furious guard leaped back up to shout at his back, prompting Jared Vanderbilt to instantly leap into action, clapping loudly while acting as a human shield between the warring pair. At the same time, someone else quickly snagged the frustrated superstar's jersey. Disgusted, Doncic just shook it off and dropped back into his chair. Before we reveal the unbelievable words they exchanged, please subscribe to the channel for daily hoops drama. So, an eagle-eyed lip-reading expert analyzed the viral video to uncover the secret audio. Based on this incredible translation shared across basketball social media, here is the raw transcript. Redick fired the first shot, demanding, "What is your issue, man? You slapped my arm. Why are you tripping?" Doncic fired right back, claiming, "I did not touch you." The coach then commanded him to take a seat, leaving the player stunned, asking, "Excuse me? Can you believe that?" A head coach commanding his main superstar to sit down on live national television right in the middle of a massive matchup? Obviously, the face of the franchise was absolutely furious. The footage blew up online in record time, dominating X, previously known as Twitter. It flooded Instagram feeds and became the main topic of every single sports podcast out there. Naturally, the rumor mill went into overdrive. Fans whispered about a fractured locker room culture, while others speculated that the superstar was already plotting his exit strategy. There were even loud whispers that the head coach might face the chopping block. That brief sideline video exposed major cracks between the cornerstone athlete and his leader during that high-stakes Golden State clash. In the blink of an eye, the intense argument went mega viral, triggering endless debates regarding squad cohesion and whether this pairing could actually survive together in the long run. A faction of the fanbase defended the coach, with one user stating, "Basic respect for your boss is mandatory, since nobody stands above the squad." However, the opposition ruthlessly attacked the coach, with one person predicting his immediate firing if his star demands out. Crazy enough, despite Los Angeles cruising to a massive 28-point blowout victory, the final score was completely forgotten. The entire sports universe was purely obsessed with the sideline meltdown, leaving one massive question hanging in the air. Will the league office dish out any punishments? Hit subscribe right now if you love NBA drama. Anyway, to fully grasp this chaotic incident, we have to look back at the unique connection linking the player and his manager. Their relationship runs deep. They are definitely not just random guys thrown together by upper management. That blockbuster move actually brought the star face to face with his old Dallas running mate. In fact, the Slovenian phenomenon was literally sharing the hardwood. When the veteran sharpshooter stepped off the floor, for the very last time on May 11th, 2021. Sharing the court for someone's farewell creates an unspoken brotherhood. It leaves a lasting impact. Because of that shared history, landing in Southern California meant he was being mentored by an old buddy, not a random authority figure. Let us jump into the time machine and look at how this mind-blowing roster move actually went down. That massive Blockbuster swap involving Anthony Davis shook up the entire association back on the evening of February 1st, 2025, sending the generational talent packing from Texas straight to sunny California for the legendary big man, with Utah acting as the vital third wheel to make the math work. Reporters immediately labeled the masterpiece as one of the craziest shockers in the history of professional athletics, leaving experts, loyal supporters, and fellow athletes completely speechless. Especially considering the MVP caliber superstar was in his absolute prime and never even asked to leave Dallas. In that earth-shattering exchange, Los Angeles snagged the superstar guard Maxi Kleber and Markieff Morris. Meanwhile, the Mavericks landed their prized big man Max Christie, plus a highly coveted 2029 opening round draft selection. Utah walked away with Jalen Hood-Schifino, a 2025 second-round asset from the Clippers, and a 2025 second-round draft pick. Imagine being the face of a franchise, completely blindsided by a blockbuster move, discovering your fate only after the paperwork was signed. Management boldly claimed he had zero input, leading a heartbroken Luka to release an emotional goodbye to his loyal supporters. I truly believed I would retire in this city, and my ultimate dream was delivering a parade to this amazing fan base. Flashback to January 2025, when former Dallas executive Nico Harrison made a shocking call to Los Angeles boss Rob Pelinka. The two executives had been tight colleagues since 2003, so when the topic of moving a global superstar came up, Pelinka genuinely assumed his buddy was pulling a prank. Hey, before we continue this crazy story, please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. That reaction alone highlights exactly how unbelievable this bombshell was. The executive fielding the offer literally believed he was being punked. Dallas leadership openly admitted they refused to field offers from any other franchises. This bizarre isolation strategy sparked immense backlash because practically every analyst argued they should have ignited a league-wide bidding war to maximize the haul for their generational asset. Instead, the universal verdict was that Los Angeles committed absolute highway robbery. Down in Texas, the loyal fan base erupted into total depression and pure mutiny. Ticket holders mercilessly jeered their own squad, screaming for management to be instantly dismissed, while spitefully purchasing purple and gold merchandise to support their departed hero. Texas was collectively shattered. Fast forward less than 12 months, and on November 11th, 2025, Dallas finally axed Harrison, the architect behind swapping a legendary prodigy for Anthony Davis plus a few rotational bench warmers, was unceremoniously dumped. Over in Hollywood, however, the vibe was spectacularly unified. The entire Los Angeles hierarchy, from the billionaire suite down to the training staff, was totally synchronized. Everyone was absolutely ecstatic to secure an elite phenomenon, seamlessly uniting Luka with his ultimate basketball hero, LeBron James. From the second the ink dried, this dynamic duo instantly became the most heavily debated tandem across the entire basketball landscape. You suddenly had two elite floor generals, two superstars, requiring massive offensive touches, both capable of dictating the pace. JJ Redick was the man handed the impossible mission of harmonizing their rhythm. Possessing a pre-existing brotherhood with the Slovenian guard and commanding total reverence from King James, Redick held all the power. Rob Pelinka released a passionate statement declaring, "We acquired an utterly unique international icon who is destined to carry our banner for decades." Shortly after, on August 2nd, 2025, Los Angeles secured their future by locking down their new anchor with a massive 3-year, $165 million mega deal. The player was all in, the franchise was all in, and the foundation was rock solid. Therefore, watching JJ Redick scream at his star to grab some bench is not just a rookie clipboard holder barking at a stranger. It is a seasoned veteran turned boss commanding a guy he shares genuine history with. Background details are crucial, and the history between these guys runs incredibly deep. Now, let us pivot to the shocking plot twist involving league executives threatening to banish the Slovenian sensation, utilizing a strict regulatory loophole designed to sideline unruly athletes. And our newly minted Hollywood star was dangerously close to crossing the line. The association enforces a zero-tolerance policy where any athlete accumulating their 16th technical infraction instantly gets slapped with a forced absence. This is not up for debate. 16 strikes guarantee you miss one entire matchup. You cannot appeal it, period. Unfortunately, our superstar guard was collecting these penalties so fast that the entire Los Angeles front office was sweating bullets. The franchise point guard had drawn intense media heat for his relentless whining to referees, pacing the entire association with 14 technicals. This alarming statistic was locked in just before facing the New Orleans Pelicans on March 4th. As the clock wound down right before halftime, the elite scorer stepped up to the charity stripe. He completely bricked his initial try, clearly rattled by Pelicans enforcer DeAndre Jordan. The massive veteran purposely invaded the painted area a split second before the ball left the shooter's hands. Outraged, the six-time All-Star immediately protested to the officiating crew, screaming for a clear violation, yet the referees completely turned a blind eye. Even after sinking the second freebie, the furious guard refused to drop the missed call. He relentlessly barked at the officials until they finally blew the whistle, handing him another penalty. Things got so heated that teammate Austin Reeves physically held him back from charging the refs. If you are loving this breakdown, make sure you are subscribed. Next up, the Denver Nuggets showdown on March 6th. During a brutal 121-113 defeat in altitude, the fiery guard was slapped with his 15th technical of the campaign, leaving him teetering over the edge of a mandatory suspension. With precisely 6 minutes left in the second quarter, the shifty playmaker aggressively attacked the rim with Bruce Brown draped all over him. Sensing a slight bump from his defender, our guy abruptly halted for a jumper, completely expecting a whistle. Instead, Denver snatched the board and ignited a fast break, prompting an enraged reaction where he absolutely unloaded on the baseline official. Boom, technical number 15 was in the books. A single infraction away, and he would be forcibly benched. Funny enough, Los Angeles head coach JJ Redick had just addressed this exact ticking time bomb regarding the mounting disciplinary issues right before Thursday's tip-off against Denver. Redick told reporters his star fully grasps the danger and is desperately attempting to bite his tongue. However, when the media pressed the hot-headed scorer post-game about keeping his cool and avoiding, is this roster imploding, or is the media just blowing smoke? Before we unpack this wild courtside drama, do us a huge favor, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel. Now, regarding that fresh penalty, Doncic gave a rather concerning answer, stating, "I listened to a trio of guys utter the exact same phrase without catching a whistle, and that drives me crazy. I was making a real effort to keep my mouth shut. This was literally my opening remark, completely unprompted. Yet I witnessed a trio of guys utter the identical phrase with zero consequences. Furthermore, when pushed on whether he could promise to steer clear of that dreaded 16th violation, the superstar bluntly replied, 'Only time will tell, man. I am no psychic.' Clearly, this superstar refuses to yield. We are absolutely not looking at a guy prepared to quit biting back at the officiating crew anytime soon. Frankly, his compulsive need to jaw at the stripes makes him his own biggest obstacle on the hardwood." Renowned Hoops insider Zach Lowe shared a similar take on the matter. This chronic complaining has returned to its absolute worst Dallas-era intensity, Lowe remarked on his hit podcast. With the postseason race hitting boiling point and a mere 20 matchups left on the calendar, a single extra whistle guarantees a mandatory one-game ban. Los Angeles was clinging to the 6th spot out west as the week tipped off. Every single victory is crucial right now. Dropping their franchise player for even a single night might totally derail their playoff positioning. The guy is essentially strolling across a tightrope blindfolded. Should the Slovenian phenom pick up that 16th penalty, he would find himself in the exact same boat as Dylan Brooks, joining the club of guys benched for maxing out their foul quota this year. The prominent Phoenix talent took a mandatory night off back on the 19th of February against San Antonio after getting slapped with his 16th infraction. Therefore, when fans panic about the league supposedly banning the superstar, here is the actual truth. The association operates strictly by the book. The guard sat just one technical away from triggering a mandatory one-night exclusion. That rule is genuinely the only form of suspension hovering over his head right now. All right, if you are enjoying the breakdown so far, make sure to subscribe. Let us pivot to what the involved parties actually claimed about that bench blow up, because this is precisely where the internet conspiracy theories crumble to pieces. Following that supposedly fiery sideline confrontation between JJ Redick and the franchise guard that set social media ablaze, the Los Angeles head coach admitted he was totally baffled by the massive public freakout. Speaking just before LA secured a gritty 110-101 victory over New Orleans this past Tuesday, Redick explained, "I have zero clue why it blew up online. The whole thing seemed incredibly routine to me. The man did not backpedal. He completely refused to sugarcoat the narrative. He plainly labeled the encounter as standard basketball business and then elaborated even further. The coach revealed, I was chatting with my star player about the whole ordeal. We were literally cracking up over it. I told him I did not sense any bad blood whatsoever, and the player responded, no way. I completely brushed it off. Honestly, I barely gave the moment a second thought." Redick continued, emphasizing, "I seriously doubt the guard gave it much weight either. The mutual respect between us is off the charts. I cherish the bond we share, and honestly, these types of heated exchanges are just part of the job. Maybe not a nightly occurrence, but they pop up constantly," the coach clarified. "We are battling out there, and you have a pair of dudes desperately fighting to secure a crucial win while trying to stay perfectly aligned on strategy." When pressed for thoughts on the viral clip, an insider from the franchise brushed off any toxic rumors, telling reporters, "Show me a marquee talent riding a 3-game skid in this league who is not feeling the heat." Meanwhile, a confidant of the superstar assured reporters that the pair shares a remarkably tight connection, noting that their intense competitive nature means they constantly challenge one another. And then came the ultimate proof during their subsequent matchup. Right in the opening period against the Pelicans, cameras caught the dynamic playmaker playfully feigning outrage while chatting up Austin Reeves on the sidelines. A few seconds passed, and he hilariously pretended to launch himself at his head coach to start a brawl. Cue the entire Los Angeles sideline absolutely losing their minds with laughter as DeAndre Ayton, Marcus Smart, and Jared Vanderbilt cracked up right next to him. Let that sink in for a second, guys. The superstar staged a mock meltdown and playfully rushed the coach just to see if Vanderbilt would jump up to restrain him once more. The whole squad was in stitches. That is clearly not a locker room falling apart at the seams. That is a squad that thought the viral drama was a massive joke. Heavyweight representative Rich Paul, easily among the most influential deal makers in the sport, delivered a totally fresh angle on the controversy. Chatting on his popular audio show, the powerhouse agent proposed that these fiery debates actually highlight a thriving culture, one rooted in pure authenticity and trust. Veteran guard Iman Shumpert threw his 2 cents into the ring as well. In his eyes, the supposed beef is fake news, just a couple of hyper-driven individuals hungry for a championship. Shumpert noted, "Folks tend to forget that while Redick wears a suit now, he is a hooper at heart. Therefore, stepping over the line with him hits way differently than disrespecting a traditional mastermind like Phil Jackson. The guy was just out there draining threes, operating within modern schemes, and he views the floor exactly like a player does. He naturally grants his roster way more freedom to vent their frustrations or drop some harsh language, simply because his own playing days are so fresh in his memory." Finally, outspoken Golden State enforcer Draymond Green, a veteran who definitely knows his way around intense screaming matches with the coaching staff, openly applauded Vanderbilt for stepping in during the initial scuffle. Breaking down the footage for his massive online audience, Green praised the defensive stopper, posting, "Having a role player step up like that is arguably the most crucial asset a roster can have." Before we wrap, hit subscribe. Coaches, and did the league really exile Luka Doncic? Let us cut through the noise right now. Elite athletes butt heads constantly, and on the opposite bench, Steve Kerr and Draymond Green have locked horns multiple times during this current campaign alone. Phil Jackson and Kobe Bryant had their moments, just like Pat Riley and Magic Johnson. The consensus from seasoned Hoops insiders remains crystal clear. That sideline blow-up meant absolutely nothing. We just witnessed pure, unadulterated passion from two ultra-competitive guys desperate to break a brutal slump. Before we dive deeper, make sure to hit that subscribe button to stay updated on all things NBA. Channeling that fiery energy, Los Angeles absolutely demolished their opponents by 28 points and then cruised to victory in their following matchup, 2. King James and their Slovenian co-star completely took over the show, with LeBron dropping 24 while his backcourt partner racked up 28 points, dished out 9 dimes, and grabbed 5 boards. The squad had limped into that Golden State showdown carrying a nasty 3-game skid, but they have completely flipped the script with 3 straight victories. So let us kill the rumors right now. Nobody got banished, 0 suspensions were handed down, absolutely zilch came from the league office concerning that heated bench argument. Adam Silver and company stayed completely out of it, and the front office refused to publish any dramatic press releases. Neither party saw their paychecks docked for the verbal sparring. It was merely a standard tactical debate between a coach and his floor general in the heat of battle. If you are loving this insider breakdown, be sure to smash that like button. Now, if the brass completely ignored the shouting match with JJ Redick, what is actually going down in Tinseltown? The genuine narrative centers entirely on the mounting anxiety surrounding this roster as the postseason looms large. Number 77 is currently pacing the entire association, dropping an insane 32.5 points nightly while driving a jaw-dropping offensive rating of 120.6 whenever he steps on the hardwood, a figure that would easily claim the top spot league-wide over an 82-game stretch. His seasonal averages sit at a mind-boggling 32.5 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 8.5 assists every single night. These metrics firmly plant him right in the middle of the most valuable player debate, cementing his status as arguably the most lethal scoring weapon walking the earth today. Yet, dark clouds are still hovering over Los Angeles. Major roster hurdles exist, and with playoff basketball kicking off in barely 4 weeks, time is running out. Sure, they boast an 11-win and 6-loss record whenever their big three of James, Reeves, and their star point guard lace up together. But do not let that fool you into thinking the chemistry is perfect. The trio has only managed a microscopic +3 point differential across 297 shared minutes, limping along at a dismal 109.2 points per 100 possessions whenever they share the floor, which would leave them sitting at 29th overall in the association. If you bleed purple and gold, that metric should absolutely terrify. You have got 3 dynamic playmakers demanding touches, and all 3 guys thrive when they get to dictate the action themselves. Throw them into the same rotation, and the scoring efficiency plummets straight to the basement. Even the man calling the plays did not sugarcoat the dilemma. He noted that their primary hurdle is sharing the hardwood simply because everyone wants to play hero ball, meaning massive egos must ultimately take a back seat. Then we have to discuss the elephant in the room, the escalating foul trouble. The superstar has bolting 24, just racked up his 15th technical, putting him squarely on the brink of an automatic ban with roughly 20 games left on the docket. Here is the catch though. Everything wipes clean once the tournament begins. If he avoids triggering that 16th violation before the play-in, he escapes the danger zone completely. That serves as their massive glimmer of hope. Assuming the prodigy can keep his temper in check through these final matchups without hearing another whistle, his slate gets wiped to 0 for the championship run. However, glancing at his fiery history, that feels like a massive gamble. Earlier this year, he collected 13 penalties in merely 42 outings, though he only earned 1 over his recent 15-game stretch. He finally showed signs of maturing and biting his tongue until that chaotic Denver clash resulted in violation number 15. Catching up with reporters afterward, he was not exactly preaching caution either. He was absolutely fuming, refusing to promise better behavior. He dodged questions about avoiding that dreaded 16th whistle that would instantly sideline him for a critical night. That stubbornness hardly screams selfless leadership, and it certainly highlights a glaring lack of personal responsibility. These red flags are incredibly alarming as Los Angeles approaches the do-or-die phase that will ultimately make or break their championship dreams. All right, let us circle back to those wild headlines screaming that the league expelled the star for assaulting his head coach behind closed doors. Here are the hard facts. The association never suspended him. He never threw hands at his mentor. Nothing sinister occurred in the locker room shadows. This whole ordeal went down right on the bench, broadcast live to millions of viewers and packed arenas. Sure, it looked explosive, but professional lip readers and the coaching staff confirmed it was just pure competitive adrenaline boiling over, not some deeply rooted hatred. The play caller continues to emphasize the rock-solid bond he shares with his superstar, brushing off the fireworks as just another day at the office. Backing up that claim, the squad has ripped off a glorious 3-game win streak since the viral moment, proving that any supposed locker room poison has not spilled onto the hardwood whatsoever. In fact, management insists the entire blow-up turned into an inside joke the second they realized how crazy the internet reacted to the clip. Their fearless leader went on record stating their connection is bulletproof and is only bound to deepen. The actual threat hiding in plain sight, that looming automatic 1-game suspension hanging over their franchise player's head. With 20 grueling matchups left before the playoffs, a single emotional outburst from their key orchestrator will guarantee him is the biggest threat to the Lakers season coming from their own superstar. Before we dive in, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe. Now, listen up. The superstar guard is staring right down the barrel of a mandatory 1-game ban and a hefty fine. And let me tell you, the only suspension hanging over Luka's head right now is completely unrelated to that fiery sideline blow-up with head coach JJ Redick. Nope, this looming punishment stems entirely from his endless habit of barking at the refs. Look, Los Angeles is currently sitting in 6th place out west. They are riding a big three consisting of Luka, LeBron James, and Austin Reeves, a trio still desperately trying to find their rhythm together on the hardwood. Plus, they are being led by JJ Redick, a head coach who absolutely refuses to let his superstars slide on accountability. Yet, they are banking on a franchise cornerstone in Luka, a guy dropping over 32 points a night who simply cannot bite his tongue whenever a whistle does not go his way. Seriously, if you love this daily basketball coverage, hit that subscribe button right now. Back to the court. In his debut matchup of the 2025 to 2026 campaign, the elite playmaker exploded for a near triple-double, racking up 43 points, 12 boards, and 9 dimes. Just 3. Nights after that, he went absolutely nuclear with 49 points, 11 rebounds, and 8 assists. That incredible run crowned him the very first player in Lakers history to drop back-to-back 40-point masterclasses to kick off a fresh year. Even crazier, he joined Wilt Chamberlain as only the second athlete in the entire history of the league to open a season logging 3 straight performances of 40 or more points. His raw skill? Off the charts. His nightly box score numbers? Absolutely staggering. But the massive dark cloud hovering over this Los Angeles squad is whether their MVP candidate can actually stay in the game when it truly counts. We are not talking about lingering injuries or blockbuster trade demands here. We are talking about his absolute inability to stop chirping at the both officials. The purple and gold desperately need their marquee guard locked in, playing smart, and keeping his cool. So, will he finally listen to the urgent warnings from the coaching staff and front office? Or will his boiling rage toward the guys in stripes result in another brutal technical foul right when his squad can least afford? The penalty? Let's clear the air. That viral bench interaction with JJ Redick was not some malicious attack. It was not a toxic locker room meltdown. It was simply a fiery flash of vased, pure competitive drive between a tactician and a baller who both desperately want a championship. The league front office did not dish out any suspensions for that spat, but the true danger of missing games is still creeping up, and it has zero to do with his head coach. It boils down entirely to how the superstar manages his emotions around the refs. Just one single technical foul away. That is the razor-thin margin he is walking, with exactly 20 matchups remaining on the regular season slate. The entire Los Angeles franchise is collectively holding its breath, praying their main guy can bite his lip just long enough to reach the postseason with that technical tally permanently frozen at 15. If you made it this far, drop a like on the video. Remember, the league has not officially suspended the All-Star yet, but if he does not check his temper, he might just end up benching himself.